All right, so I wanted to do this video. This is the Topo, or I'm gonna call it, it's either Tupa or Topo. I don't know how it's pronounced. TOPO, in case you want to know. T16. These are handmade and put together. These are 3D printed. And the keys have magnets in them that help it, I guess, with the velocity portion of it. And just, you can check the website for the details or my other video where I actually explained it. This is made by one developer, as far as I know. He makes a web app too that allows you to adjust settings and make changes. So I'm going to talk about the things I like, and I want you to remember too, again, one dev. If you look back here, you'll see this was made this year, and this is number 17 of the units. Number 17. So that means there hasn't been a ton of them made yet. It's still a new product, okay? So take that into consideration when you're watching. It is a very new product. I'm going to show you a few things, as the developer did tell me that a lot of this stuff you can replace, meaning that you could change the case color by buying a new case from him and then just switching it out. But if you pop these off, you can see the buttons are kind of similar to those little push buttons that you get on the former pocket operators, if you ever seen those. So now I got to put this back in and push them back in. It's not complicated, but it can be a little something at first when you, okay, there we go. Got it in. All right, cool. It's just a plastic thing to go over that presses for a trigger. That's all it is. This is 3D printed. I already told you that. And there's 4 screws back here. If you ever, I guess if you had to take this off, you would take that off that way, okay? So super simple to replace, which is kind of fun because let's say you wanted to design your case or do something like that. You could take these off and sticker bomb your case or whatever you want to do. Now, I will say this. What would be cool with this would be some skins that kind of tell you which each button is, particularly like, you know, something to go around here. I don't know. You really don't have a 2 buttons, so it's not that complicated. But it would be cool to have a case that kind of has a little bit of that on it. It's very clean. It's very clean and well made. I'll say that. The touch strip is extremely responsive and easy. This is the pitch bend. So you see I barely put my finger on it. It does it. So this is the mod. I've shown you guys that. This one right here is your octaves. So you can go through octaves. And then this one is your banks. Now, what's challenging, and I said this in the previous video, is unless you read the manual and fully know what you're doing, once you understand it, then you understand what the colors mean. You understand how it works. Otherwise, it can be quite confusing. The different modes kind of help with understanding. So this is a chord mode where they call it strum mode. So you can strum. So here's your major, minor, augmented, diminish, and then you got your letter, right? So C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, right? I'm just using sharps. You can consider sharp or flat too if you want to. All right, so you can select between them. And it's not hard to see the lights. They're pretty visible even when they're sitting down. Now, I will say when you turn it like this, you can see all these lights that are lit up, but you need some light that's lit up so that you're able to tell. But I don't know if I would have them all lit up like this. I would have maybe just the division lit up and just this one, just because it's confusing a little bit. Now, this is something the programmer, the developer would have to add, but I think it's a little bit confusing. When you see all orange here, you're like, which one am I actually on? It kind of lights at the top. You can see the bottom is only lit here. And the top is, this whole thing is kind of lit now, so you can see that. That's how you figure it out. Same down here. Okay, go to the next mode. The next mode is the XY axis, right? It's like a joystick, I guess. And then I don't fully understand what these do, so I probably would never use that mode. And this is your fader. And then I don't understand how this works as far as the sensitivity, I guess, but whatever. So 4 faders. If you need it, you need it. If you don't, then it makes no difference to me. Personally, it could be, it could be useful maybe in koala, like, but I would just use the touchscreen personally. I don't see what's the point of having this. But I guess on your mixer, if you needed to have mixer knobs, I guess, maybe. Honestly, for me personally, I would rather more focus be spent on the keys and everything being perfected in this way than the other modes that are kind of like gimmicky in a way that like, and I feel that way about a lot of products like the Novation Launchpad. That's kind of gimmicky with the fader on there. It's like, it's okay, but is it really something I'm going to use when I could just touch the mouse at that point? I mean, I'd rather focus more on the controller aspect of playing this than anything else, because that's probably where the most use case will come out of. So how do I like it? I like it a lot. I think the feel of it is fun. I think that there is some improvements that need to be done though, like ASAP, meaning, and this may be just my way of thinking. If you go around the world, everybody has different ways they look at stuff or feel about things. So for me, here's the thing. When I look at a key bed like this, I start bottom to top versus some people may start top to bottom. So in a lot of people's mind, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way to 16. For me, I'm 1 to 16 this way. And I don't know if that's because I'm left-handed, that my brain thinks that way. Maybe a right-handed person thinks 1 to 16 this way. I don't know if that even really applies. I'm just giving you what I think or thought about it. The other thing is, when you use 16, which I think is great for 16, but if you're trying to do anything piano-wise for 16, I don't like when the next one up is not like legit. I mean, like in this case, this is C, right? But when you go to the next page, so let's do octaves here. We're on 0 octave. This is octave C1, or technically this is C1 the way he has it mapped. This is CO all the way down to C1. Okay. When I go to the next octave, I don't want this to be C1 again. Or rather, I'm sorry, because it starts here. No, it starts here. I'm sorry. See, that's why I'm confused. So this starts as C1. I would rather this be a continuation of what's on the first octave. So this is C1 on the octave. I keep going here because my brain goes this way, right? So that's what's throwing me off. This is CO to C1. This is going to be C1, C1 sharp, D1, D sharp 1. When I go to the next octave, I want this to be E. That's just how I think. Now, maybe others don't think that way. But if I want to skip that octave portion, because I was already on it on this page, or I have to just go to the next octave, skip this down here, visibly, remember it's not there, then go to the next one and play here, or play here, and then remember this isn't, it's different ways to work. I guess you can't appease everyone, but in my thought process to make it more piano fluid, so let's say I'm playing a melody. Let's say I'm playing a melody up here or whatever, and I get to this point down here. When I switch to the next octave, I need to start here. I don't want to start here, so why not just make it continue through the octaves? Cohesive versus like having this. And then when it starts here and then comes down, I got to remember to go back up here. So that's why for me, if I start here and work up and then hit the next octave, I just continue. Well, I guess you got to go back down here and start over. It's whatever you feel. I'm just giving you my thoughts on it. So take it as is. It's just my thoughts. It's not the wrong or right way. It's just the way it is. So for now, I'm going to just have to get used to like, and the reason I say is because this is starting at the lower octave and working up. So I want this to kind of start at the lower octave and work up versus it coming down and then this going up. It just confuses me a lot more. So these are, again, just opinions on it. Now, does the device work well? The only way to show you that would be you actually using it. It's virtually impossible for me to just tell you it works well. Yeah, absolutely. You should believe me. You have to see it. But I will say this, that when he has a note on and off and aftertouch feature on the actual web app. So if you look on there, it'll tell you the velocity you're hitting. And the velocity range is pretty good, though it never hardly ever gets softer than like 40s and 50s. And that could be because mine is set on exponential. I don't know on linear how that would work. I guess I could just try it, huh? Bank 1. Let's switch it to linear. We'll switch the aftertouch to linear and we'll save it. So it's going to save and it should switch. There you go, it switched. So we'll go back to octaves. But see, now this is where it gets weird. Sometimes like it'll work right and sometimes it doesn't. So you need to unplug, hit this button, and then throw this back on. Then power it again. See, and now I don't see my octaves again. So I don't know if that's because I'm on the wrong mode or if I need to switch through the modes. Let me see here. Yeah, see, it's still... This is where I'm being blatantly honest with you about it. Let me hold this down, plug this in. All right, so now when you see it's kind of light color there, then it's definitely reset. All right, so here we go. Put that back there. I'm gonna pull up the MIDI monitor. Let me see if it makes a difference. Yeah, I don't like the linear at all. If I'm blatantly honest, I'm going with at least exponential. I haven't even really tried the other. Let's try the logarithmic. I don't really know logarithmic, what that does to it. Let's save the setting in here. Let's see if it reset right. Doesn't look like it because these are red. So it feels like it put it in koala mode or something, which I still don't understand the koala mode thing. I'm gonna have to turn it off this way, hold it down, and then plug it in. Oh wait, did it reset? Okay, let's see. No, see, it doesn't do it. So I'm gonna unplug it again. Hold it down. Keep holding it down while you plug it in. And then it resets. So you gotta continue to hold it down, okay? Just so you know. All right, let's do MIDI monitor. It's about the same, honestly. So I really can't tell much of a difference if I'm blatantly honest about it. It's hitting sometimes 29, 30. It's so rando. I can't tell that much of a difference. So if you're looking for super precise, don't buy this. It's not going to be super precise. It's a cool little controller, but it's not going to be super precise, okay? I'm just going to be honest. I don't think with this type of mechanism, unless he has some special thing that he uses in here that makes it even better, I do not think it's going to be as precise as like an actual keyboard. And some keyboards suck though too, let's be honest. Some of them are bad. So if you look here, these are your modes. You hold both of these down. I'm trying to find the one, and I can't even remember. So hold on one second. Let me pull the book up so I can tell you. Okay, here we go. The quick settings. So the one I'm looking for is the velocity curve, which is 3. So these are on the, and he's gonna fix this, I think, inside the manual. It shows 1 to 3. It starts at the top, but that's not how they work in here. So it's the opposite. So 3 is here, 1 is here. So I was telling him, like, you gotta change that because when a person looks at that, they're expecting this to be corresponding to what they're reading, right? So, and you can tell it's obviously not. So, well, I can tell just because I understand it. So page 1 is down here, but I'm looking for page 3. and that's the velocity curve and the aftertouch. So on the first one here, this first 4, these are your settings, and then the rest are the value. So if I'm here, my velocity curve is either 1, 2, 3, or 4, right? I'm gonna do 2. I'm gonna leave it at 2, and I'm gonna leave this one at 2. This is the velocity, the aftertouch. I might put the aftertouch at 3. I don't know, just trying stuff, okay? The other thing I would like to do is go back to page 1, and I'm gonna adjust the brightness all the way up. I wanna be able to see it. I'm plugged in, so I'm not worried about, there's no battery in it, so it's not like you have to worry. I mean, if you go with the lower setting, supposedly, so you might as well have the best, right? No use in not doing that. Let's see what else. 4 is the MIDI Bluetooth. So you'll see if you're in setting 1, yeah, 4 is the MIDI Bluetooth, and you can turn it on or off. None of these are working. Sometimes the lights bleed over when you're looking at it. I think from the top angle, it's a lot better, but the light here will kind of shine into this one. But these are your only 2 settings. I'm gonna turn the MIDI Bluetooth off for right now. And then let's see here. Yeah, that's it. All right, so let's get out of that mode. Go back to your piano mode, which is here, or keyboard mode. Back to the octaves. And so that's pretty much it. The faders are, like I said, I'm not gonna use it. I wanna see, I was trying to see consistent of, these are 4x4 pressure sensitive key grid, and they have a capacitor touch slider, which is that, right, with the 2 buttons. I was trying to read a little more on the rest of the sensitivity. They are, it says 16 pressure sensitive caps, and they are, and the way he made it works pretty good with the aftertouch. I haven't really messed with the aftertouch much. I don't use a lot of aftertouch stuff. That might be cool on some things. Maybe that'd be cool on some Swam instruments. I'd have to try it, see how that goes. I'm trying to think what else in here I could show you. Interface, go back there. Nope, slider. Yeah, so hopefully, I want to see if he'll make a sticker overlay that might be helpful. To have some type, either a sticker overlay that could go over, like a vinyl overlay, that might be helpful, even for the keycaps. If there was little vinyl overlays that went over these, but I don't know how you could do a vinyl overlay with the lights, because everything's lit, right? As far as the lights, and I don't know how that would work. Let's see. It might be good to do multiple colors too. That's something that he could add, I would think, on certain things. Like, for instance, let's say these are your, this is your mixer, right? Instead of having all the mixers the same color, like maybe have just 4 different colors, or colors you could choose from to place for your mixer. So, you know, like I want red to be my drums, or something, you know, just something to give you some distinction between which one is what. Although there's only 4, how in the world should you mess that up, I guess is what you probably say. But somebody might find a way. Sometimes, and this is another thing, see, I'm kind of, okay, hold on. What's the pink for? Oh, that's back to your, oh, this is interesting. So though there's 4 mixes, maybe this is the colors right here. Or maybe you can have different mixers per bank. So these are banks. You could have, so if that's the case, if these mixers allow you to use all of them, you could have technically 16 then. So let's say you could do drums on the orange, the green could be your keys or whatever, the purple could be your bass, and then the red could be, or pink could be your lead or something. I don't know if that's the case. But here's, okay, there we go. The only thing I would say to him too, if he's ever watching this, is these buttons here are like, kind of like the pocket operator buttons. They're very hit and miss. So it might be something that down the road you think about adding something else there instead of or some other button that's better. I like the little encoders that click in. If there were small ones that you could add where they click in, that might be better than these little pieces in there, because sometimes I click and they're not happening. That one happened, that happens, but occasionally I'll get these clicks. See how I clicked there and it didn't change? See, I'm clicking a bunch and finally it changes. So it's not registering the click. So that's something that to think about for future. Make sure you use the Chrome based browser, or else it doesn't work right sometimes with other ones. You'll get portions of it. It won't do the update properly, that's for sure. And then I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in updates. He's only had, it looks like he started this project back in January, March, somewhere around March 2024. And since then, he's had 3 updates, and 2 of those happened in the same month. So this is pretty good. Not too bad. I wouldn't say it's great, but it is definitely better than it has been. What else can I say about it? Something I was saying prior to this is if he ever adds this, the ability to change the direction. Like if I want my 1 to be here instead of it being here, that on the editor, it would be cool to be able to switch the direction, because I'm more comfortable playing this way up and switching through octaves. So if he ever could do that, like let me start my 0 here, that would help me. You don't even have to change everything, just switch to 0 here, so that when I switch octaves, I'm starting back here. Then I'm just not used to playing down like this. It's kind of weird to me. I don't fully understand the custom scales. You do have 2 custom scales here, and I'm not sure I can say I know what that means. Also, when I change from exponential velocity curves and all that, I still don't know what it's really doing. So maybe a little explanation on what those curves, how those curves affect it. And I still don't get why it changes to this screen when I do it. I don't understand. If I hold this down, does it do anything? Nope. Well, that's it for this video. I just wanted to show y'all that. My dog's barking. Let me go check on her. And yeah, if you like it, if you have any questions, just ask me in the comments and I'll answer whatever questions I can. Most of it is in the manual. I will say read the manual. topo.unwn.dev, DEV that is. Read the manual for yourself. You'll kind of get the idea of what it does. That's how I learned it. And it's not a complicated manual. It's really not long. It uses pictures in there, so it's really simple to get. And yeah, cool little device. It's not super expensive. I do think it is expensive to some degree, because where you live, you got to pay the shipping. Plus, it's in euros, and euros are more than the dollar amount. So if you're in the U.S., it's kind of pricey. I would say he is, though, a single dev doing all this work. So sometimes when you pay a little bit more, you're paying for the support of that person. Kind of like, but it's big difference when you go with some big company that's mass producing these things. He's 3D printing, is doing this to himself. So you gotta take it in that, in that with that thought in mind. All right, that's it for this video. Hope you guys are doing well, and until the next one, I'm out.